So, Kenny Yaboa, he's not going to practice today. We'll see how the week goes day to day. Rankins, not looking good for the week this week either, but he'll be out. Dwayne will have his normal week. Ahmad's dealing with a calf, he'll be limited. Quincy's dealing with his ankle, he'll be limited. Herbie and Corey. Herbie will be a limited participant today, but we feel really good about Sunday. Corey will be a full participant, so he's back at practice, and we're opening up George's practice window.
Who's your quarterback, Robert?
We're going to roll with Mike White.
Why?
It's the same things we talked about when we elevated him to the second spot. I got it. Feels like three or 4 weeks ago. We know he's fully capable. He's started in this league. He's won games for us, and we just want to give him an opportunity.
What does this mean for Zach as you go forward?
Yeah, so the big thing I want to make sure I address on this one, just want to make sure you guys all listen to this very carefully, please. Zach's career here is not over. I know that's going to be the narrative. I know that's what everybody wants to shout out, and that's not even close to the case. The intent, the full intent, is to make sure Zach gets back on the football field at some point this year. When that is, I'll make that decision. I'm going to take it day to day. The biggest thing with Zach, and the same things that we've talked about, is the young man needs a reset. His decision-making's been fine, his practice habits, all that stuff have been fine, but there's some basic fundamental things that have gotten really out of whack for him, and this is just an opportunity for him to sit back, focus on those things, find a way to get reconnect to all the different things that we fell in love with during the draft process, and it's something that I feel like he's going to be able to do. I think to ask him to do all those things while preparing for a game is unfair, but at the same time, it's something, just talking with Zach, that I think we're all excited to attack. And this is, like I said, is it a small step back? Absolutely, for him. But do I think it's going to be a great leap forward when he does get a chance to reset himself? Absolutely. And so this is not putting a nail in his coffin. This is not that. It's not even close to that. But I do believe at the end of this is going to be a rejuvenated, renewed young man that once he reconnects to all the different things that we're trying to reconnect to, he's going to show why he was the second pick.
Robert, if Mike White plays well, why would you go back to that?
I'm going to go to day to day on this one. It's just I don't want to get into all the hypotheticals. I know we can create and conjure up a million of them, and not to disrespect you in any way. I just want to make sure that we just focus on every moment. And for Zach, it's about focusing on himself and finding ways to reconnect all the basic fundamentals that we're seeing in the game that's been showing up for the last 4 or 5 weeks, and practice. And but for Mike, it's a great opportunity for him, and I know he'll attack it.
Robert, how much of a factor was the off-the-field stuff, the manner in which Zach handled some of the scrutiny in the press conferences, and the possibility of concern that maybe he may have lost a lot?
No, I don't think. It's my opinion, and I know that there's always going to be that discussion. Well, he's going to lose the locker room. Zach doesn't have the locker room. I don't think players go out there. We play for one another. We fight for one another. We do that, but at the same time, I don't think a player is going to play any less harder because he doesn't like his teammate. He's playing hard for his family. He's playing hard for the guys that he loves on the team. But he's not going to turn it down because he doesn't have love for somebody. Now, with that said, I think, like I've said before, I think guys have empathy for one another when it comes to how difficult this job is, and the heat of the moment, and being at the end of the game, and the way we lost, and the way we all played. And for Zach and his teammates, I don't think they're. Maybe there was a little irritation at the moment, but I don't think there's a grudge. I don't think there's hate. I don't think there's lingering effects when it comes to that. So to answer your question, I had no bearing on this decision.
Robert, does this give the team, in your mind, the best chance to win? Is that what you're looking for when you're making this move?
Yeah. There's, the biggest thing I just in evaluating over the last few days since the game. This isn't just a Zach thing. Our receivers need to get better with alignments. Our receivers need to get better with route running and consistency. Our run game needs to be more consistent. Our O-line's got to be better in protection. As coaches, we've got to be better with regards to scheme and play calling. We've all got to be better. we're not going to become the greatest show on turf just because we're changing out one player. It's not, it's about everybody understanding that we've all got to get better. Now, we're afforded the opportunity at quarterback because of the faith that we have in Mike and Joe, and to allow Zach to just kind of take a step back, reset, get your mind right. We'll get you back in the lineup and we'll get ready to roll. But none of that's going to happen if the rest of us don't step it up, and those are the facts. I know the standing up here on the podium with myself and for the quarterback, like, you take every single bullet, good or bad. You get too much credit, you get too much blame, and but that's the reality of it all, or the perception of it all, I should say. But the reality is we've all got to be better, and there's a lot of things with the offensive side of the ball that we can all be better at to make this thing work at quarterback.
Why do you think Zach will respond to this positively? You seem pretty confident in that.
Because he's, obviously he's going to be frustrated. Not going to get up in line and say, hey, it was a party. But he's just got the right mindset. You guys talk to him every day, and you guys see how important this is. And sometimes he does wear it on his sleeve, and but at the same time, the guy works his tail off. He works as hard as anybody, and I know that we've got a great plan for him, and with regards to practice and what we're trying to get accomplished, and I know he'll attack it.
Well, question, Robert, is that will Zach be the backup quarterback on Sunday? And that in hindsight, do you believe it might have been a mistake? Just like he came here, he was anointed the starting quarterback. Like, should he have competed? Should you have had a veteran guy there from the very beginning?
Question one, Joe will be the backup. Zach won't be active on game day. To the second question, you could always go back and play the hindsight's 2020 game. You do what's best for the team at that very moment. It's a developing roster from a year ago, and he went out and played with a bunch of young guys that were developing, and he made strides. I still think he's leaps and bounds ahead of where he was a year ago. And there's just a few things in his game right now and it's just one man's opinion, that I think will just continue to deteriorate if we just keep throwing him out there. And so, like I said, we've just got to give him a chance to reset. And so hopefully that answered that question.
You're calling like a temporary reset for Zach, but I mean, this organization drafted him second overall, paid him a fortune, built everything around him. I mean, do you understand, like, the message it's sending is that you don't think this guy can do the job for you, right?
Yeah,
It's a pretty
I get
profound message.
I get from messaging. I get what it says in the moment, and you're probably right in the moment that it's not good enough to win football games, and it's not because he's not capable. He's capable of so much more than what he's playing at. But what the issues are for him are so fixable. But I think he just needs to reset to be able to get those things fixed. We haven't wavered in our belief that he's going to be the future of this franchise. We have not, and like I said, I've every intent to get him back on the football field at some point.
Robert,
It was recent, it was a week or two ago, you were saying he's being held prisoner by you guys for 4 or 5 bad plays, right? You were defending him. Sunday after the game, he said, the furthest thing from my mind was a quarterback change during the game. How did you get from there to here?
Obviously, after a game, you haven't had a chance to watch everything. When you look at it from last game and you just see some of the things that were popping up, and it's not just Zach, just as an offense altogether. The simple running, blocking, passing, catching, the simple fundamentals and the simple basics that need to be executed. It's our job to take a step back and you start watching. You just go back and watch all the practices, and you're just trying to absorb as much information as you can, and you just make. And for me, it was just, you know what, this young man needs a reset. There's just a lot of things going on for him and for the offense, and it's just in my opinion that he just needs a chance to go off to the side, just catch your breath, and like I said, he's got to reconnect to these fundamentals. Otherwise, it's just going to keep going, and at least in my opinion. And it doesn't mean that we've lost faith in him. It doesn't mean that we've wavered off of where we think he's going to go. But consider a slingshot. You might get pulled back a little bit, but I still think when we let go, it's going to take off. So.
Probably we've seen that, like, Justin Fields may have apologized to his team for, the way he played. Has Zach done that to the defense, and does he need to do that based on, what
Zach spoke to the team he already had his conversation with the team, so I'll let them handle that one from a locker room standpoint.
Robert, you talked a lot
Joe
about how,
Douglas?
you talked a lot about how, young players develop at different rates. And I'm just kind of wondering, there's many, maybe not you guys, didn't expect you guys to be in the hunt here at 10 games in. Is there, to some degree, him he's a victim of the fact that everybody else around has developed a little bit quicker, and this was supposed to be a developmental year for him?
No, well, the reality is there's guys on, from a defensive standpoint, you can look at it, when you look at, there's a lot of guys on the offensive side. The offensive side is where a lot of our youth is. And so they're all developing. And like I said, it's not a Zach thing. Garrett's got to be better. Elijah's got to be better. Mim's got to be better. Corey's got to be better. Our two tight ends got to be better. Our backs got to be better. Our line's got to be better. Our coaches got to be a lot better. So it's not just a Zach thing. But when you do mix in a bunch of guys who need to develop, there's going to be some chaos in there every once in a while. And like I said, with regards to Zach, it just felt like it'd be a great opportunity for him to get the reset while everyone else continues to work on their craft.
Robert, I know that, you're saying you believe that the future Zach here, you believe he can still do it, but statistically, he doesn't align with a quarterback that is moving forward. Even now, this is year 2, 20 career starts. It's historically bad numbers. Why do you believe he's going to turn around? Aside from his work ethic, what do you see that says, no, these numbers are wrong, he can still be a franchise quarterback?
Well, you have to include work ethic. You got to include everything within his body of work. You see him at practice. He's got tremendous arm talent. He's very good in the room and talking to him with regards to football and talking about and watching tape. There's a lot of flashes that happen that that normal quarterbacks can't do but can't make. And it's just a matter of him regaining that consistency and with regards to the basic fundamentals. And, at the end of the day, the truth is no one ever knows anything. But at the same time, I got faith in him. I think he can do it.
Do you have an example of I don't know if you talked to Matt, I don't know if you talked to Kyle, anyone who you've known throughout your career, of a time where you took a quarterback, you said, take a break, and then get back out there and it worked?
Personal experience?
Or just people you've worked with, your mentors?
Yeah, just going across the league, and I still talk to a lot of people in Seattle, and I ask them about Gino and the way he operates on a day-to-day basis, but just through my career and just watching different guys like Alex Smith, Rich Gannon, there's so many that have, I was watching that got a couple of weeks ago, Kurt Warner's story. In a way, he took a reset and ended up having the career he had. You just never know. And I'm not saying it's going to be years of a reset, but I do think that Zach has the ability to just sit back and look inward. I think that's one of his. I do think that's one of his greater strengths, and it's just an opportunity for him to attack all the little details that are required to make a quarterback great.
With the decision-making process, how involved was Joe Douglas in all this, and did you guys feel the need to consult Woody Johnson with it, because obviously it's a big decision?
Yeah, the Woody and Christopher, first off, are phenomenal with regards to letting Joe and I work. They're there, they support us. I get perception and all that stuff, but they were whatever we decided. With that regard, just like Joe gives us as a coaching staff the floor to speak about college players and free agents and all that stuff, Joe and his staff will always have the floor to speak about personnel, and so that respect is mutual. So Joe's always involved with everything, and vice versa.
Robert, you mentioned some frustration. What was Zach's reaction when you gave him the news?
What you would expect from a player that he's not ready for or not that he's not ready, but it's like why now, why me? I want to play, and obviously you expect that, and but after a great conversation, I think we're on the same page. Does he want to be on the field? Of course he does. But I know if there's anyone that's going to be on the sideline cheering and rooting his teammates on and hoping Mike White freaking dominates, it's going to be him.
Will he practice today?
Yeah, he'll be out there.
Last one for us.
The piece of this, Mike White, what gives you faith in him? Why him over Flacco? And if I could just slip in, a quick one, you mentioned Sauce, is he okay for Sunday?
Damn, I lost the bet. I said you guys wouldn't ask about the injury report. Mike White, for all the same reasons I've talked about, like I said, he's won games with us. He does a great job in practice. He's done a great job in games for us. He's extremely competent as a quarterback, and he's got the ability to make all the throws around on the football field and run the offense in the manner that we need to. And I said it 3 weeks ago or whatever it was that he'll be next to get an opportunity, and that opportunity is now.
And Sauce, is that?
Sauce is it's just we're not worried about the game. Rich, I know you had one more. You can fire away.
No, he asked it.
He asked it.
It was the, backup. It was the white backup.
All right, appreciate you guys.
Thanks, everyone.
The box out there.